Hey, y'all, what's up? So I was gonna do the video of WrestleMania Night 2 after, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch the after show. I pretty much watched the whole thing. Um, it is 9:43 Monday, 420. Happy 420 to those to celebrate. I don't, but I know people that do. So it's Raw night. It's on right now. I'm not gonna watch it. I just put my son to bed. Before that, I was watching other stuff, playing games on my phone, about to read, all the other things. I'll watch it tomorrow while I'm working. Thank God for Netflix. Okay. So night 2 was good. Every match was a banger. In this, to sum it up, in the sense. Since we're doing all of them, I'm gonna do all of the matches collectively for both nights. If I had to pick my favorite matches of the night, God, that's hard to, because normally I rate the matches. Okay, so should I do it collectively or by night? I think I should do it collectively or by night. Because if I do it by night, I think it'll be easier for me. So, going from best to worst, night 1, Gunther versus Seth is number 1 for me. Best match of the night. Best match of the night, hands down. If I'm including everything, best match of the night, that was my main event for the night. Didn't care about nothing else. Best match of the night. Second one would be, I'm trying to just go based off of the match. I know people go through like the crowd stuff and all that. For me, I would say it's a tie between the girls' Fatal 4 tag team and Cody and Randy. They would be second. So because I have 2 seconds, I have to skip third and go to fourth. My fourth favorite one would be the 6-man tag team match with the Usos and stuff like that. The next one after that would be Jacob versus Drew. And after that would be my girl Liv versus Stephanie, and then Becky versus AJ would be the last one. I didn't really care about. It was what it is. For last night's WrestleMania night 2, this is gonna be hard. The best match of the night was that Intercontinental ladder match. Hands the freaking down. You hear me? I was anticipating that one the most. That was my main event. I know that match went second. If it wasn't for Jade and them, now they try to do 2 main events. You could call it 2 main events if you want. For me, honestly, the last match should be the main event, and the first match is the main event. Everything in between that is not a main event. It's just fillers. So for me, like if I was doing WrestleMania, the first match, which was the Usos and them, and then the last match for day 1, Cody, those are the 2 main events. Next day, Owa and Brock, Roman and Punk. But that Intercontinental match, hands down, was number 1 match. Okay? Number 1. You hear me? The second one would be the Punk versus Roman. Punk versus Roman would be my second favorite match of night 2. Night 3, the third one would be a tie between, no, the third one would be Jade and Rhea. The fourth would be Finn and Dominik. And then Oba versus Brock. And then Sami versus Trick will be the last one. So before we get to, I didn't watch the Fridays before night 1. So I was confused because I was like, where is the Wyatt 6 versus the MTF? I read an article where they was like, they didn't think it was going to get much like, it didn't have a lot of momentum. So they saved it for SmackDown for 8-way tag team match or whatever. I think that's stupid because all honesty, Jade versus Rhea didn't have that much momentum. Outside of Rhea, Michin and B-Fab beating the hell out of um Rhea, and then EO getting involved. Theirs didn't have much momentum because their promos was terrible. Like Jade's promos was terrible. I think because I was like, why does night one have 7 matches and night 2 have 6 matches? And this is why I said the MTF first thing would have didn't, because I wanted to see on a big screen and have the crowd react when the Wyatt Six get that lantern back. Every time they win, and then Solo and then somebody ends up taking it, and I kept saying somebody gonna whoop his ass for that lantern. Like I know the Fireflies F with the Fatu family real heavy. They, especially in France, like they only came out when, I keep wanting to say her real name. I was gonna say when Naomi did her thing and when Jay did his thing. Other than that, they didn't really come out like that. I know that. Excuse me. But that should have been a match. That should have been a match. For WrestleMania. If not, my opinion, I think they should have had Trick and Sami just be a regular match, and then had Carmelo have the title, and then like have him defend it against Danhausen. That could have been a 7-1. Stop not letting that man have a WrestleMania moment. Y'all had him be the Andre the Giant winner, had him there as the number 1 draft pick, didn't do nothing with him. Had for 2 years people that came with him in the call up and after him had titles. Like Tiffany came up after him. She done had won Money in the Bank and had the women's title. Who else came up with him? With them, Grayson Waller. In theory, were tag team champions. Brock was the Intercontinental champion. Like all of them came up together. Carmelo ain't had nothing, but yet he's the number 1 draft pick. I was so confused by that. So confused by that. Now, then you got the new class. You got Lash coming. She finally got her tags and she ain't have it that long, but it ain't take her that long. Trick is the a champion. Daggone Oba is on WrestleMania, and Jevon, and they only been on the thing 4 months. This man has been on the roster 2-3 years, nothing. Everyone that has been recently called up has been in a major PLE, even Kiana James. Carmelo, nothing for him. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I'm trying to figure that out. Do something with him, okay? I know y'all trying to figure out that writing room situation. But for me, and I know he said, Miz keeps telling him to be patient. And I guess it's a lesson for him because he was such a star in NXT that patience is the lesson for him right now. And they might utilize him in the long run. But if it was me, I would feel like I'd rather you let me go and let me go to TNA, GCW, MLW, Japan, AEW, and get my rocks off over there and excel over there versus me sitting here waiting 3 years over here. Luckily, they like him enough that he's still on the roster. Even with even if not, even send him down to AAA. Y'all got half the daggone roster from SmackDown and Raw injured or pregnant, okay, or just had a baby. If y'all don't utilize this man right now, okay, utilize him. Also, so the first match was Oba versus Brock. Go to bed. The first match was Oba versus Brock. Hold on. So, Yeah, so the first one was Brock versus Sorry. I think Brock came down first. Um, and then Oba comes down. Oba has such a presence. He comes down, he's in red. He has a Nigerian travel marks on his gear. He does a strut. I say that's a long ramp. He gonna be strutting for a while. Okay. Comes down there, does a strut. Heyman takes the mic from Alicia and announces Brock. And I was like, y'all gonna get enough. Somebody's like, y'all gonna get enough of snatching his mic from my girl. I said, okay. Because who else did that? Was it Trick? Was it Lil Yachty that did that with Trick? Or whatever. Somebody else did that. I'm like, or did Paul do it with the Vision too? But I was like, y'all need to get it together. Okay? Get it together. So he comes down and he does the strut. You know you got momentum when doing the commercial breaks. I've been to a live show. So it used to be the DX thing. It used to be show your sign and then the DX thing. Then it went from show your sign to it was a dance or something. I forgot whose entrance it was. It wasn't Jay's. It was a dance. And you had to do the dance or something like that. Now it's a show your sign and do the overstrut. So, which is crazy. It was a stalemate for a while when they locked up. And I was like, nobody's moving. So I was like, we got to get Brock to do a F5 or Oba to do a fall from grace. Is it fall from grace? Because I want to say fall. My brain wants to say fall from glory. But I think it's fall from grace. I was like, for either of them to get pinned. Brock suplexes Oba. Oba does a fall, and then he F5s him. Oba does the fall from grace and then something like that, and then he gets pinned. So after that, Oba walks off, wins the race. Not the race, the match. People are excited. I'm sitting here like, what? So he's in the ring for a while. So I said, I know he didn't David Batista us. I said, I know he ain't David Batista in us. Because for those that know, David Batista retired in 2018 at WrestleMania. He said he did it and he knew he was retiring. And some of the people in the back knew he was retiring. He just didn't want to make a big deal out of it. But when when Brock started crying, and then he took off his his gloves, I was like, and then he took his boots, unstrapped his boots, and somebody said, "Put your boots back on." I was laughing, but then when he stopped and started crying and walking up the ramp, I said, "Oh, he is really retiring." And then Heyman was all distraught. I said, first of all, this is WrestleMania, okay? Second of all, it's already emotional. It's too many emotions with y'all superstars, and y'all getting on my nerves with these emotions, okay? Y'all are getting on my nerves with these emotions. We was already happy and mad that Naomi and Jimmy was having a baby. We found out Cody and Brandy had a little bundle of joy, okay? We was upset for the people that even if you didn't like Cena as a character or liked him as a character, people was upset about that. What broke me down was AJ Styles retiring. He just retired 2 months ago. Okay. Binky pregnant. And I was happy to see her. As soon as I saw her face and her hair wasn't in braid, I knew since I saw the podcast. So we play spades with her, Nick Cannon, and Courtney and them. And then him getting that pregnancy weight and that Valentine's Day photo shoot. Okay. But I was happy for them. Because I know she said they had babies in the freezer or they were trying to do IVF or something like that because of her demanding career. But I was sad because I'm like, we already ain't seen her in a year. Now we ain't going to see her for 2 more years. Then my thought was the women division is in trouble. Because even when they showed the 2025 Royal Rumble, you know what I'm saying? Bailey and them was looking back for the women's before the 2026 one. They showed Bianca and they was like, she was like, we need her. Like, girl, come back. And I said, okay. Because I'm like, if we depending on no shade, Jade to carry the shoulders of the women, single women's division. And I think that's part of the reason why they gave Rhea that belt. Okay. Because Jade, I'm going to get to that. And it's nothing negative, but I'm going to get to that. And I was like, now Brock, I remember Brock had the little jump. And then I found out he's married to Sable and stuff like that. Then he wanted to use it. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, and we found out about Binky yesterday, which I said is also funny because after that, he did like a Homer thing on Twitter and back into the bushes. And so everybody was like, come outside. We just want to talk. And somebody was like, I'm happy for you, but bring your ass outside. We not going to jump you. I was like, Twitter is undefeated. Because I said, that's exactly how I feel. I said, we felt it. And somebody said, Jimmy and Montez need to be arrested. Didn't know this fool, Angelo Dawkins, going to put a picture of them too. Talking about some weak pullout gang club. And I'm like, because his wife pregnant too. I'm like, what the hell is happening? What is happening? Okay. But I'm like, it's too many freaking emotions. WrestleMania already drains you of emotions, and then these announcements and stuff is worse. Okay, you know who else I'm gonna be sad? Ironically, when he retired outside of AJ Styles, The Miz. I followed his career from when he was on Real World. So when I saw him on Tough Enough, I was like, why is he? And I have been in and out of wrestling since instead of 2022, I watch consistently. Well, my son got into it 4 years ago. He has mild ASD, so we have to learn everything. We have to learn all the matches. We've seen all the up, down, down episodes, the past ones of them playing Tekken and Madden and all the things. And when AJ broke the controller and stuff, so we have like a very parasocial relationship with these people. And then we have like, but not in a bad way. It just shows us like the human side of them. And then we have like, so then we end up watching Total Divas. He checked out after the second season, but I was intrigued by then. Then I was like, then Miz and Marks got a show that broke off. I ended up watching all of that. Well, I watched 1.5 seasons because that second season was long. Both seasons are long. I watched the second half of the second season or third season. But her mama is hilarious to me. Okay? Between her mama and his daddy, I was on them the main characters of that show. I be cracking up. Like, it showed Michael like in a more human way. I haven't seen him like that since Real World. And then the Bella spinoff, which I didn't get past. I think after season 4 or season 3 I checked out. But yeah, I'm gonna be upset when he retires. And it also, some people's like, they understood John Cena retiring in their brains, but them seeing Brock retire is like they can't fathom it, even though they came around the same time. And I'm like, because somebody's gonna say yesterday after WrestleMania that they think John Cena is coming back. I said that man is not coming back. They talking about something. I feel like if a feud or something happened, like they can't grasp the concept that he's really retired. And it was like if a feud or something happens, he's going to come back and say something. I was like, everybody back there know is retired from in-ring work. If John Cena comes back, he might do a DDP and become a manager. But he's not coming back to do no more matches. Because he has a gift of gab. He ain't coming back to do no more matches. And that's what Roman was talking about in one of the interviews. He was like, I basically laid out the bloodline, got my family elevated for everybody to eat. Basically, the people that's in creative and stuff, the bed, messed it all up. He said, so now I got to come back and regain my title so we can be, he said, to get us out of the Attitude Era and the heyday and the 2010s and stuff like that so y'all could forget about it. And y'all messed it up. Because if we would have kept rolling with the train that basically he set, he wouldn't have to come back and claim the title. He could have just been chilling, okay, and chasing the title. So, yeah, he left. And I was in shock because I was like, does this mean he retiring from WWE and wrestling? Or is he going over to AEW with his bestie Sheldon? Or is he retiring and completely? Like, it's what is happening? Like, and because Brock is like Undertaker, they don't really say too much. I be forgetting this nigga could talk sometimes. Like what he sounds like. And what had me cracking up is when the dude was like, get your boots. All I can remember is that clip when the dude was like, throw some dirt on it, Brock. You not getting hurt, boy. And he starts cracking up. I was like, what? Okay. So the next match was my main event. The Intercontinental match with I had over winning that match. Like I said in my prediction video. Check out my prediction video. The Intercontinental match with Penta versus Jade McDonough versus Dragon Lee versus Rey Mysterio versus Jevon Evans versus Rusev in a ladder match that Penta had requested. Watching Unreal season 2, and I think I only got to the 3rd episode when he was in Money in the Bank. Penta was like, he lives for ladder matches. That's his favorite kind of match. So him having a ladder match at WrestleMania was not surprising to me. And I already had that I was going to have him winning, if not Dragon Lee or JD winning. Jevon, I said he was going to put on a show, and let me tell you something. A show was put on. You hear me? First of all, Rusev was the only powerhouse in the match. Somebody was like, the last ladder match he was in was 2018 for WWE. Cole had asked, I got something in my eye. Cole asked Wade, has he been in a ladder match? He was like, yeah. He said, how many you won? 0-9? He said, absolutely 0. I was like, not absolutely 0. But he asked, like, so the match was great. So when we first came out, it was already Rusev, Dragon Lee, and JD out there, which I'm upset because Dragon Lee has one of my favorite songs. So, like, I got 5 girls, well, 6, because I'm counting Lash now. I add her to the roster. 6 girls to me that could do no wrong. Okay, and that is Bianca, Liv. This is 2022. Lash is a recent ad from 2025. But since 2022, so some of these people was in NXT, some of them was in TNA, some of them been on the main roster. But Lash, Liv, and Liv became my girl before she cashed in on Ronda Rousey. Lash, Liv, Roxanne, when she was in NXT, she caught my eye. Soul, okay, when she first got signed in 2022. And Jordan Grace, and she was appealing to me since TNA and Lash. It is 6 songs. Not the ones I sing along to, like Seth's and Sami's, which is feel-good songs. Not those. But it's 6 songs that come on that I'm bopping or dancing to when they come on, off the rip. And that solo song is number 1. Okay? Got Bianca's song on there, EO song, Grayson Waller song, Dragon Lee song, and Trick Williams song. So anytime one of them people's song come on, I'm dancing. Okay? So I was mad his song ain't play. So, of course, Ray's coming out. They do his entrance. You know, it's Ray. He's the Hall of Famer for AAA and WWE. He comes out. He pops out like he's in the 2000s concert. I ain't seen him do the pop out in a minute, though. He used to do it back in the day. I haven't seen it in a minute. I think he said one time he got stuck or something like that. So I was surprised to see that. It's also surprising that I think he's an inch taller than me. We weigh about the same, but the way the people's weight gets distributed different. It's weird. I was thinking about that yesterday. So I was like, I got more hips. You know, women have more thicker lower bodies, but I was like, I have midsection and hips and all that, and I was like, he's just upper body muscle and all that. But then they show. Oh, then they showed Jevon coming out, and I was like, I like his gear. It's oh, that's Ain't No Need to Worry. I was about to say, what song is that? With Anita Baker and Marvin Wines. But yeah, Jevon comes out. I was like, his thing is colorful. His nickname since NXT has me cracking up, the young OG. And the only reason why I crack up every time, because I'm like, yeah, he's 21, but what's gonna happen when he's like 35? Is he still gonna be the young OG, or is he just gonna be the OG? You know what I'm saying? And then Penta comes out and does the walk and and I said, that's a long, when he does his walk, I'm like, that's a long ramp to do that walk like that down there. So the match pops off. Cole and them was talking about how Dragon Lee is coming to his own, and Ray called him the future of Lucha Libre. And who was it? Oh, I think they piled up on JD. So I think they had JD on the corner. They all tagged him, like Dragon got him, Ray got him, Penta got him, and then them three. I said, not the three lynches, it was just whooping your tail. Then them three end up coming. They tried to do Ray. It didn't happen. Ray 619 Dragon Lee at one point. Dragon Lee took the style slash from AJ with his blessing and did it on him at one point. Ray went through the table with Rusev. It was connected to like the announcement table, which was crazy. Something was it Penta that did the Mexican Destroyer on JD, and then JD did the Spanish Fly on Dragon Lee. That Spanish Fly was nice. You hear me? JD surprised me, and not in this WrestleMania match. When I first, because you know, people always talking, people like, why do people get called up? And then you see sometimes how they perform in the ring, you like, oh, okay. And the match that got me like that is when I think it was him versus him. I want to say him and Dominik versus the War Raiders. At the time, I think they were still the Viking Raiders, and they had a tag team match or something like that. Or it was a four versus four match, and Jay-Z showed out, and I was like, he the team MVP, and he ended up like getting concussed or something, had to leave again. But I was like, this man is the MVP of that match. I was like, between that and War Games, I was like, he's showing out. You hear me? So that ended up happening. Jevon almost had it. They moved. Rusev removed the ladder. Rusev gave somebody. I mean, not Rusev. Jevon gave somebody a cutter from the air. Who did he get a cutter to? It was either Dragon Lee or Rusev, and I was like, he showed out. You hear me? Jevon showed out, and I love that for him. I follow, and I'm cool with people from Ringside Society, a wrestling podcast, and they was talking about how the wrestling school in Greensboro has had talent like him. I forgot homegirl name. She signed at NXT, and then Jackson Drake from Evolve and someone else, LeBron something. And it was like they really got talent down here, and I was like, yeah, here in Greensboro down here, but I was like, that's crazy. Like, that match is crazy. And I don't know. It was just, and Penta ended up retaining, which is what I thought he should. because he's such a crowd favorite that I figured he was going to retain anyway. But after the match, because I ended up watching WrestleMania, so it started at 6. I came in 15 minutes late, so during the commercials and stuff, I had to fast forward. So I wasn't tweeting on the main page. I stayed on my profile, tweeted, and then I would look at the tweets and stuff after. So I didn't see some of the stuff until after. So where is my water? Sorry. So after that, I saw Kofi like tweet, and he was like, "Redemption finally," or something like that. Because I remember he pitched for Jevon to be part of the New Day. And when people was like, yeah, and then it was like, some people was like, that's you. And I sat there, before I even read the other comments, I said, because he was like, redemption. He was like, basically, congratulations, Jevon. And I said, he reminds me of a 2010 Kofi Kingston with the Trouble in Paradise, all that. Because when I stopped watching, so from 96, then it's 96 to 2002, I was on WWE heavy, and I really checked out at 2001. I was 14 by then, but my little brother was 6 years apart. He's 8, so he's still into it. His his 9th birthday, 2002. So that's after that. He was watching it. He had a wrestling themed birthday party, birthday cake, and all that. And then I so happened to pop back in about 2009, 2010, and I saw Kobe. First of all, I was like, "Who is that?" Because he's cute. Okay. Second of all, I was like, he became my favorite person instantly. For one, he got the green. Not just to make the green. Y'all know I love me some lime neon green and black, and then orange is like my third favorite. But he had that on, and then he was doing all the high flying moves and all the other stuff. And I was like, who is that? And then I checked out after 2011, after Edge said he had to retire. And then I came back about 2014, 2016, because that's when the Bellas like top of their game. And they were so much of a heel. I didn't even know. That's before, like, that's when social media was like popping, but it wasn't like people weren't involved. Well, I wasn't involved in people's like love lives, so I didn't know about her and Cena. Didn't like him as a WWE character. Couldn't stand the Bellas. They played heel so well, couldn't stand them. And then stopped watching. So when I came back, like the only people I knew were the vets. Okay, like I knew Stardust, I knew all that. So yeah, he reminded me of Kofi. So I put that up there. I was like, he reminds us of you. Like, yeah. So I was like, him being a New Day would make sense. But because they're kind of like, I don't even know if they heels anymore. And he's so bubbly and stuff like that. Like, would he want, like, he would fit in probably with old New Day, but I don't know about New Day. I don't know. And then it ended up being Sami versus Trick. I've never in all of my life that I've been watching the past 4 years hear Sami Zayn when his music come out that the crowd initially boos. Never in all of my life, okay? He comes out, it's a mix of boos and cheers. And I was like, even when he turned on Roman Reigns, I don't even think people booed him. Like, I think they cheered him as Roman. Like, I don't think so. He came out, people booed and cheered, and then he had, um, his gear was based off of like his culture and things like that. So then Trick comes out. Couple of tweaks about Trick's entrance. For one, I totally agree with everyone that says that turntable should be only for PLEs because it takes out the special element of it. He already has a robe, a a fur robe. Like, what else do you want? You know what I'm saying? That spin table should only be, and when he spins, it should be smoke around to make an illusion like he's coming out. Second of all, he shouldn't have started facing us and then have him do a whole 360. That take up too much time. Y'all should have had him when he came out facing his back to us. So then when we have one camera facing him or the cameraman facing like Stu and then Stu coming around. So when he turns like that, it'll be 180 and then he stops and looks at us and then he comes down. Like that was a mess. He said his train was 100 feet. And he said he wanted to do, because I just watched his interview on Nightcap, that he wanted to do the James Brown thing where he takes off his robe and then comes back and puts it back on. But it was too heavy. And now I understand the symbolic of the 100-yard train, because he used to be a football player and he used to say when he grew up he wanted to star in the Super Bowl and perform there. And he's like, and with WrestleMania he gets to do that. So you can see the grays in my hair. And so he ended up doing that. Lil Yachty, I don't know. That's Cole. That's Cole's dude. Ever since he was doing stuff with Pat, he was like, "Look, Lil Gotti had dapped me up," and Wade was like, "Well, he dapped me up too." Basically, he my guy too, and Cole said no. I was like, not you being possessive over. I didn't know. Maybe because I don't hear his music, his singles in a while. I don't really listen to the new type of rap. Like, you gotta mean something. Like, if I'm listening to new projects when it comes to hip hop, it gotta be stuff of artists that I either know of that got some substance or some bangers, or I can understand stuff. Like, I ain't understand the Migos, but I knew that they were club like type rappers. But like at the time, Lil Russell, I don't know what the hell he doing now. But at the time, like last year, 2 years ago, my friend put me on to him. Like the Clips new project, Wale new joint, T.I.'s new single, Juvenile's new singles coming out. Lil Baby, that used to be my nickname in middle school. Lil Baby, some of his stuff, like stuff like that. But I'm very much outside of that. Grew up churchy, so I'm very much a gospel R&B pop girl outside of that. And I'm from DC, so like go-go, reggae, stuff like that. But I listen to hip hop, but it can't be all this other stuff. So I don't know this man's songs outside of like singles that might play on the radio. I didn't know his voice was that high. And then when he shouts, he sounds like, no shade, like somebody's grandma or a church mom. So like his voice, like for me personally, if I was Trick, I would have asked for Booker T to come out and do my ad-libs on WrestleMania while I was walking down. He already there. You might as well. You might as well. I also didn't know until I watched the 4-minute interview with him, Lash, and Booker T and Jevon. No, I knew, but I forgot because I was watching during that time. That Booker T is the one that brought the U.S. Championship over from WCW WWE. So Trick winning it was symbolism, because they always say that Trick is the modern day Booker T mixed with a little bit of Rock. Booker T is his mentor, it's like his uncle. So that was fitting for that. But outside of like, and the momentum he has, but outside of that, like y'all know, I would have kept it with the title with Carmelo and had him fight like Danhausen or something, just something for the kids. Cause you can't lose with who wins. Like, we like the Danhausen gimmick and all that, but that man could throw down in the ring. Okay. Both of them did really well in the ring. He knocked Lil Yachty out first just so it could be a one-on-one, as he should, as Sami should have. Okay, because everybody want to have ringside people. He ain't had nobody. And then he and still ended up getting like hit on the ropes with him. Something happened with Trick. Trick got hit over there by the ropes, and then they showed like this older couple, and I said, I bet you that's his parents. And then I said, who is that next to his parents? Is that Rhea's little sister? Because the girl looked like her. I ain't never get no confirmation. Okay. But yeah, so I was like, where so the ref went to go check on Trick. What's the name? Tried to hit him in the nose or something like that. Trick said he was really he was upset about him in real time. Like, I guess he kicked him and wasn't trying to kick him in the nose, trying to kick him like in the chest or something, but the ref was like, nah. A lot of like when I went on a live last night on Instagram and somebody was like, this Trick thing needs to end. Like, no, the Sami thing he shouldn't be healed no more because he lost his championship. To me, that don't make sense because that should make you all the more reason to turn heel. I ain't got nothing to lose now. I'm turning up on everybody. You hear me? Like, it's not me winning, be like, all right, I can maintain my sanity. I ain't got to do too much. But me losing is all the more reason for me to crash out. And it's so funny because this is why we need Karrion Kross back. Or we should have kept him. Because this is the exact Sami that he was talking about. He's like, you pretend like he's good and all this other stuff, basically, and you put everyone else before you, put yourself before someone else. But he told him and AJ that. And he was basically like, he could see it coming. And it's coming to pass. And the man ain't even here. So now they were kind of replacing him with like an Aleister Black type situation. And Zelina's kind of like Scarlett, but it's not the same. Okay? And we could have had like a golf type match between them two if he was still here. But my hair itches. I did these in the dark, sitting outside while the kids was playing, just cause I washed my hair and I didn't know what to do with it. So they ain't gonna stay in for too long. I literally did these Friday night. I was just sitting there parting hair in the dark and just braiding. Yeah, so after all of that and the low blow and stuff like that, Trick hit him with a trick shot or something. Cause at the beginning of the match, Sami hit him with a blue thunder bomb. And I think he haluva kicked him right next to his parents. And Trick ended up winning the title. And he showcased his parents. He looked like both of them. Like most of the time, a child looks like one parent or the other, and they normally say a boy looks like their mom and the dad looks like their no, and the girl looks like their dad. But Trick has his mom's entire face and his dad's smile. Like, he looks like both of them. And when he said she had knee replacement surgery a month ago and been coming to rehab every day just so she could be at his first WrestleMania, and then was on a plane to come here because I know they probably still live in South Carolina. So it's a 5-6 hour plane ride, having to keep trying to and sitting regular, and your knee swelling up. Like, that's dedication and love. You hear me? Because I had knee surgery in October, and sometimes sitting still for a long period of time, not stretching it out, still hurts for me a little bit every once in a while. So it could be a lot. Okay. The next match was the Finn versus Dominik. Dominik, outside of Cody, had the best entrance of the whole both nights. Dominik came out with a whole bunch of people with lucha masks, I think, and or t-shirts or something like that. Then he came out with a silver mask, and he came out with a chair, and I said, I don't know if that's a Mayan or Incan Aztec symbol on the back of his chair. I had to look it up. I think it was says Incan. And I was like, that's crazy. I was like, one thing Dominik gonna do is have an entrance. You hear me? And I think he win for the entrances. Cause 39 he had came out on the back of the police car, a SWAT car. Was he in 40? Oh yeah, Revive My Life. I can't remember. But I know every SummerSlam or every WrestleMania he be coming out with all of these things. And it's funny because I watched his interview in Nightcap this morning, and he was talking about how his is like his neck tattoo is basically like the Mayan sun or something like that, but reversed, mixed with his great uncle, his uncle's Rey Mysterio Senior's like mask or something like that, original mask from the 70s. So that was cool. What had me cracking up though is when Finn came out as a demon, and they showed Dominik is a good actor. He keeps the fake kayfabe alive, and like his face expression, because kept showing Dom this man hiding on the ground like this by the timekeeping area, and I said, now why are you back there? and it's funny because on the show he was like he had to fight the demon, but in the post after the show on WrestleMania 2, he's like he didn't know Adam tricked him because he didn't know he was fighting the demon. He thought he was fighting Finn. And he said, he was back there, and I said, get your behind out there, get your behind in this rain to get beat up. And I said, I know one thing. I had Finn win this match. I had Sami retaining for the last match. So I said, I know one thing. I said, Finn better not lose this match as the demon, because there's no point in bringing him back. He already said in the past, some years ago, that it takes about 3 hours to do this makeup on him. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you brought back the demon at WrestleMania 39 versus Edge. It was a hell of a match. Man lost and had to get 14 staples. Okay, there's no way in the world he needs to lose again, because then there's no point in bringing him back. So he came back. Dominik got in the ring. My first thought was, I wonder how long he gonna grow his hair out, because he been growing it back since 2020. It's down. Now, I know he got a fresh cut because his ends was clipped. But I was like, I wonder how long he going to let that hair grow, or so he going to keep it at that length. Number two, you don't realize how tall he is until he stands up against other people. And he has said something about, dang, what was that match where he had to fight John Cena? What was that? Oh, the TD. Because he was talking about his tattoos. That's what they were talking about. And will he go through a whole night of anesthesia to do like a whole session? Because they asked him how many sessions. He said 3, and he was like, no, because he got this done on Wednesday, and then had to wrestle Cena in the TD Garden in Boston. I was like, that was a good match. Minus Liv being like crazy, but that was a good match. The match ended up being good, and it was okay. I was just so glad that Finn got his redemption. I wish it was for the title. Like, I wish it was him versus Finn down in AAA and him getting Dom's title. But Dom is going to be the face of WWE and AAA in the future. Also, he said that Mexican fans are crazier than American fans, which is it got to be a different type of crazy, because American fans, for the most part, are weird outside of the arena. Depending on what city and state you go to. Like, Gunther was interviewed by 520, and he was talking about how his favorite cities because they were like, "What's your favorite city?" He was like, "New York and Philly, like different." He was like, "They used to be my favorite, but it's changed." I said, "Okay." I thought it was just me because I'm like, now Midwest got it, but like places like that, Philly has a jail. Like they're found so rowdy. It don't matter what sport it is, they have a jail to put in every arena they have to put their fans in. But he was like, they threw Mexican pesos at him. I was like, dang. But he ended up losing that match. Um, which was warranted. I'm glad Finn won and got redemption. I don't know if they're gonna keep Finn on Raw or if they're gonna try to put him on SmackDown. They try to put him on SmackDown. Like, what's that gonna be like with the original 3 out of 4 of Judgment Day? Him, Rhea, and Dom. I mean, not sorry, Dom, Damien. Are they gonna keep them separate or they gonna have them work back together? Like, what are we doing with that? Especially Damien and Finn, because Rhea could really do her own thing, especially since she got EO. So then after that, it was, I want to say, I have to look because I can't see. Sorry, y'all. Oh, it was Jade versus Rhea. It was Jade versus Rhea. So it used to be a time where it don't matter if your entrance was boring or if the crowd didn't receive you right or whatever, that the champion came out second. Nowadays, and this is not just for Rhea and Jade, this is for everybody. It depends on your momentum. Because why did Sami come out before Trick? Why did Rhea come out before Jade come out before Rhea? Who else was like that? Trying to think who else. Why did no, I think that was it. I think it was just them two. Because I think night one. Nope. I take it back. Because Lash and Nia came out second. After Alexa and Charlotte. Like, why aren't the champions coming out last? I don't care what surprises y'all got. I don't care who got momentum. It should go challenger first. If we're doing it, sports entertainment, then champion. Rhea came, Jade came out looking like Wonder Woman, okay, in an all gold. She looked like, okay, you better. One thing about the PLEs is the girls is always going to show out with the gear and the hair and the makeup. Okay, the guys can't really do but so much with the gear, so they got to show out with the entrances. But 9 times out of 10, them entrances fall flat, so we got to rely on the gear. Like, the only people gear that I was like, okay, with night one was for the guys was the Usos and LA Knight, Seth, and Cody. Like, is that it? Is that all the ones from? I'm trying to think. My brain trying to think because it was 7 matches. It was 3 girls. It should be 4 guys matches, 6-man tag, Cody and Seth and I think I missed. Oh, yeah, cause Drew looked nice too, but Drew always looks like that. So I can't. Like his jacket might have be a different color. It's either that green one, which I really really love, dark green one with the scales on it, or it's like black one, or it's like black. That one I think had red on the black. I think he got a navy one, but like the rest of the guys, you'd be like, Dom's. So for night 2, like the gear for me was Jevon, and the three Luchas, of course. Um, Dominik only because of the mask and the entrance. Finn because of the makeup. That's dedication. And who else? Outside of the guys, I wouldn't say, I'm not gonna say Trick because it's the same stuff we see all the time. The thing I did like about Romans was the gold shoes. And I like Punk that his jacket was dedicated to like all the people that he loved and stuff. Even Larry was up there. Other than that, it was nothing spectacular. So she comes out looking like a goddess. She was like, y'all know y'all love me, hate me, whatever. Like some people boo her, whatever. Then Rhea comes out. Okay. First of all, she looked amazing. Second of all, it threw me off. Not because she looked amazing, but because, I know when she wears all black, she has black tights on. She had on white tights, and I was like, I had to Google, was like, does she always wear tights? And I was like, she does always wear tights. Her lashes were red, and I had tweeted, and it wasn't no diss. I was like, Lash girl. I said, I don't know where Rhea got her lash from, because like lashes has specks of white in it, because she had on white gear. But I'm like, I don't know where she got her lash from, but girl, we need to get you some lashes like that. We need to get some like from Baps or something that say lash in it. You know what I'm saying? Like we need to get you the bougie booty. Your name is Lash Legend. You got a move called Lash Extension. Like let's do but ones that you could see out of. Okay. Cause I was like, it's her. I was like, her makeup is white, and I was like, and it's red. And I was like, her eyeliner made. And I said, no, her lashes are red. Then I didn't know if her gear was white or red. But let me tell you something. Wicked Lester Clothing, y'all did her gear. Y'all did Alexa Bliss's gear. Y'all did Paige's gear. Y'all did. I'm trying to think who else was on. Who else? Paige, Rhea, Alexa, the three golf girls. I think they did Stephanie's gear. I'm not sure. But I said they was busy this WrestleMania season. I know Miss Sandra did Cody's. I know she did Cody's. I know the boot person did all the girls' boots. He does Cody's boots too sometimes. I know Troy dressed Becky and Seth. I know I think Saroff did the Usos and Logan's because he always does Jays and Logan's. I know that for a fact. Jimmy goes back and forth between I think him and Miss Sandra and Christina and them. And it's a couple people that do Jade's gear because she does. It's I think what's her name, Miss Connie or Miss Pam, whatever that. She does Jade's gear, and so does a person that sometimes does like Tiffany's gear and Naomi's gear, and then it's a couple. I follow all the gear people. When I tell you I follow all the gear people because I'm here for the looks and production, I follow all the gear. I follow all the gear people. The only person I can't find is people that do daggone Bailey's jackets. Okay. Or her gear. But this little mini bun is irking my nerves. So they come out. Homeboy is officiating their match. And I said, I know we had 3 women's matches yesterday, but I was like, did the 3 refs call the matches yesterday? Because I was like, I know Jessica did Becky and AJ's, but I was like, did Daphne? I want to call her by her real name because I was gonna say, did Aja, did Daphne, what's her name, a match, and did Tori or Victoria do a match? Because I'm like, where are the girls? Okay, where the girl? Then I was like, I'm not mad at it, but I was like, I had to reevaluate my life because honestly, I was so engulfed into the match, I didn't know. I didn't know if they did it or not. So, People were ecstatic about this match, and I concur. This is the best match that Jade has had. You could tell she has been consistently putting in the work in the ring. Um, that's why I was like, I was gonna get to her later. Her promos could use some work. She likes playing a villain. I know she can't cuss on TV like that, like she used to in AEW, because she said she cusses like a sailor. She said, but she can't because she wanted to say some stuff, and she was like, they tell her no. Like even when she says I'm that, like she can only say it so much. She wants to put it on TV, T-shirts and stuff. I don't think they're letting her do that, or whatever the case may be. She said on the Joe Button podcast. And if she wants to have a baddie section, like she mentioned in Joe Button podcast, like she used to have AEW, let her have a baddie section. Like y'all, it's a business move. She said she want baddies around her. She said if the baddies come, the guys will come. But you also got to realize that wrestling is a niche thing. Okay, we are a nerdy bunch. All of us are a little weird. All of us, whether we want to say it or not, we're very much into. This is a niche thing. This is a nerd thing. This is the people that a lot of people that watch wrestling also watch anime. They also are still into DC and Marvel. They're still into video games. They're still like have a childlike spirit. Um, they might be into fashion and all that, but it might be like eccentric, their hair and stuff like that. Because wrestling, just like other outlets are, is an art. You have a childlike spirit if you like wrestling. You like stories like a soap operas or stuff like that. Might be a little violent, or you're a very creative person. That's what sums it up. So, not saying it's not baddies that's gonna be there, because she was like it would attract the males or put more eyes on the guys. But that's if production and stuff puts the camera on the baddies section, or someone that's very popular comes and be like, "Yo, who are these women?" And they keep showing up on people's timelines. But other than that, it's not gonna work. But I get where she's coming from. So I was excited because Rhea did bring the best out of her, and Rhea in the past 4 years, when they was Cole was like, we call, I think he said Roman. Was it Roman or Undertaker? Mr. WrestleMania. We need to call Rhea Mrs. WrestleMania. And I said I agree with that. Yes, we can't spell WrestleMania without EST, but Rhea, as far as all the women come when it comes to WrestleMania matches, has had the best WrestleMania matches in the past 4 years. Okay? I even watched the one when she had the tag match, I think, at WrestleMania. And then she had the one with her and Charlotte. What was it, Thunderdome? Sorry. So the past 6 years, WrestleMania will stand and deliver. She has had the best matches on here. And she has really brought, just like when you wrestle Charlotte, Rhea's becoming that. When people be like, oh, you wrestle Charlotte, Charlotte brings out your A game and stuff like that. Rhea has been that for a lot of girls. And Rhea has been that for Jade, because yes, we knew the moves were there. But like when she wrestled Naomi the first couple times, I know it was almost a year ago, we was like, okay. But between like time and then her wrestling Rhea, you gotta bring your A game. You gotta bring your A game. And then Cole gonna lie and say, because you know Rhea going, with the theatrics, you pretend like he can't lift her. So Cole gonna lie, saying something. Rhea Jade is a different breed. She ain't never Rhea ain't never faced nobody as big as her before or strong as her before. I said Bianca. I said Raquel. I said at one point in time when Rhea was more muscle and before she had slimmed down, all three of them used to bench press 300 pounds. She has faced people. She has faced other women as big. Like, I understand what y'all trying to do because the kids and stuff like that, but like, no. And I had Rhea winning because I was like, especially now Bianca not coming back for a while, or Naomi, I was like, it's overkill. I was like, not Bianca, Jay got to be the one of the girls to hold it down, but I'm like, she can wrestle just very much like Jay, but their promos need work. Their promos need work. And I think for her, even though she like trash talk because she used to play basketball and stuff like that, and she loves being a heel, I think it's harder for people that are genuinely sweet and nice, whether you trash talk or not. If you from where I'm from, everybody trash talk, but that don't mean you're not sweet and nice. It's harder for people to connect and believe you or yourself. It's hard for you to turn that on and switch that on. It's like, and in some of it, people can act the hell out of it and be the nicest people you know. And other people, no, no. So, the girls ended up coming out. Me Chin and B Fab, they came out looking like all three of them because she's a storm and stuff like that. One of them came out looking like Army, and one came out like Fatigue, like they was um Mad Max or whatever, Dune, or whatever you want to say. So when they start coming out and she was getting distracted, I said, "Girl, if EO came out, and then my music playing, do 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 do." I started this. I was like, "Yes!" Came out, did the thing, flipped out over. That took care of them. Rhea ended up doing Riptide to her because Jade had a new move to Sandstorm. I said, when she pulled that move out, I was like, "Oh, we doing her," because Rhea had gave Jade the Hurricane, but the sale was weak or Jade was delayed with it. But she did a Sandstorm and moved up and scooted and tried to. And I was like, this is Jade's best match that she's had in WWE thus far. But it was a good match. Rhea ended up regaining her title back. So then after that we have Cena come out and do the attendance. And I was like, so the host, all they got to do is come in and say, greet everybody, say hi, do the attendance, and then say the main event is next. Because I was like, how much do they get paid? And total, it was, I'm trying to think, it was like 17,000 people less this year at the same venue. So the first night for WrestleMania 42, it was about 50,000 people. 50,817 if you include Bianca's baby. For WrestleMania Night 1, it was 61,000 and some change. For Night 2 of WrestleMania, and that was for 41. For Night 2 of WrestleMania for 42, it was 55,255. For Night 2 of WrestleMania 41, it was 63,000 and some change. So that was 124-ish to about... They're playing all the good songs. Sorry. My son listens to the radio while he sleeps. I listen to gospel. They playing so it's about 103,000. So yeah, about 20,000 people shorter. That's why they were selling seats all the way up until, and I said, well, you could tell they didn't zoom out like they used to. The only time we got an aerial view is when Penta won and when I Show Speed did that I Show Splash. I was like, other than that, they didn't really show the crowd like that, like they normally do. Also, I think one contributes to the prices, but to be honest, I think the prices of 41 were more expensive than 42. I think it's because the storylines this year have sucked. That's why I said I haven't consistently watched since Backlash of last year. After that, I will tune in and out, but I will catch most of the PLEs. And two, I think because of the ending of WrestleMania 41 with Cena winning and then just like walking off, and it was just like dead silence in the way he won. Don't nobody want to come to 42 and it's basically the same. I will say though, Out of the last 4 WrestleManias I watched, 39 and 40 are tied for number 1 for me. 42 is second or third because they have to. And 41 is last. 41 is 1,000% last. So then after that we get Punk, and he's showing himself throughout the years and stuff like that. From the time he was a teenager all the way up till then he has the coat and he comes out and stuff like that. And then they play no song. Then he comes out and looks around. So I said, are they gonna play his song? So then they play his song and they do the DBA. Just like they did it for Cody. And I was like, I did it too late. And then they show Roman. Roman comes out and he shows like his ancestors. He shows his uncle, his uncle Alpha, his dad, Sika, Peter Maivia, and then Yokozuna. And then they have someone playing the drums and this lady singing. And honestly, they just showed different pictures of them. And I thought that he was going to have his brother up there for some reason. In those pictures, he didn't have his brother up there. But he came down. I was like, in his normal fashion, nobody with him. And all the things. He be cussing like hell when he played. So they first started, he ended up going to the ring. Outside the ring, they flipped him over. Punk played possum in the chair and then grabbed him, brought him back over. Somehow Punk ended up turning upside down and he started bleeding. I forgot how he ended up bleeding. I think he got hit or something like that in the face. But I was like, I wouldn't even be worried about the blood. I said, I'm more so worried about the blood rushing to my head because his whole upper body was turning red. And then he got speared. And I was nervous for Roman because I was like, because I had Roman winning. I was like, every time he does one of his opponent's moves, he loses. Because I'm like, when he did the Crossroads at WrestleMania 40, he lost. So he did like, what's his name's Go to Sleep. Punk did his Superman punch. I can't remember if he did put him to sleep. Punk did a submission move. Roman did the guillotine. All I could think about is when they went to Thunderdome and the I Quit match, and Jimmy came down limping and told them, and he put Jimmy in the guillotine. And I was like, that's exactly what my mind went to. I was like, oh, snap. So then something happened. They both ended up tired and laying there. He was, gasping for air. And my mind went somewhere else for 5 seconds. And I said, nope. But my mom was like, that face and stuff like that alone. I said, I see why you got 5 kids. And then during the beginning of the match, I guess Punk or something had said something to the ref. And the ref was arguing down like, no, this, that, and the third. And I told my son, because I had my son watch it before he went to bed yesterday for school. I said, Punk better leave that man alone. I said, he's still in shape. You could tell. I said, that ref used to wrestle. I was like, Punk need to leave that man alone. I was like, so people were complaining that something happened. Roman did something and the ref ain't say nothing about it, or he didn't count until later or whatever. I didn't pay no attention to it. I was just so engulfed into the match. And towards the end, I think it was a submission, or he ended up pinning him, and Punk ended up losing the title. That was a really, really good match. Like every time they pin, and you captivated the audience. As soon as you come out, everybody stands up. That's another reason why when WWE comes in my town, I never get the floor seats. Because if I'm not in the first or second row, it's no point. I'm going to be up like this. Because if everybody's standing up and the people in front of me are taller than me, then I waste all that money for nothing. That's why I sit on the jumps that goes down like this. My next dream seats, though, is to sit like behind the announcer's table. I've sit like up before I've sat across like where Green Guy is. I've sat on a little ramp thing like this, like third row. I've sat towards the corner where you can't see the superstars coming out because I got like literally tickets 5 minutes before the show. But you see all the backstage and production. Those have been my favorite seats still to this day. Okay, the last time they came in March was the first time I took my niece and nephew, other than myself and my son, because if it was us, so I sat closer. But we sat up like instead of in the 100 seats, we sat in the 200s, and I couldn't sit in the 300s, the nosebleeds and fair heights like that. But we were sitting directly from in front of a speaker or whatever. But yeah, so after he won, he kissed his twins. All I could think about are the boys, and he was like he impersonated them and what's your story and stuff. And he was like, they did something to him. He was sleeping on the couch. He was like, Daddy don't like that or something like that. I was like, crack it up, because that's the first thing that came to my mind. Then they show his daughter, which he did an interview with the guy about his watches, and I saw this watching most of it today. Talking about how she's getting ready for college, and she's beautiful and got a boyfriend, stuff like that. And I was like, him and the Usos are really triplets. Because I'm like, Jay and Jimmy both had their sons. And then Jimmy and him had daughters. Like, all of them had kids. They had their kids around the same time. So then you saw the other two boys. They had their hair out. So I was like, they probably about 10. And then his wife, who looks the same. Okay? Gorgeous. And that's the first time I've seen his family. And when I saw his daughter, first when she mentioned she could drive, I couldn't believe it. And then when I saw his daughter like there, I was surprised, because the last time I saw his daughter on thing was like I said, my son makes us watch, was on YouTube, and they went to certain people's houses. So they showed like Seth and his parents and stuff like that, and him in his school, and then KO and his family in Canada. It was like a WWE special, and then they showed Alexa Bliss and her being the only child and her parents in like Ohio, and then they moved to Florida or something like that. And then they showed Roman. They showed Roman in his house, and at the time it was just him, his wife, and his daughter, and she had to be like 8 at the most. She had to be like 8, and then I think the last person they showed might have been Natty, but I know for sure it was them 4 because I watched it. So to see her now was crazy. Also, his family is beautiful. Second of all, also the match was impressive because they beat the hell out of each other. Punk actually got to main event WrestleMania with the title this year, and he didn't get no help from the Bloodline. I just want to see what his goes after, because I'm going to watch Monday Night Raw tomorrow on Tuesday. What are the steps you want to take now? Because everyone is popular and respecting their own rights. And I was like, well, he could bring Lance down from NXT and stuff like that. And my homeboy was like, Lance left there. He's not part of there no more. So I was like, okay. And ironically, it showed up on my timeline, and he won. He did this slap contest. I was like, what the hell going on? Lance did this slap contest. I was like, first of all, people make sports out of anything. I've seen a slap contest before, but they literally have one outside of like bowling and stuff. They got one for frisbee. They have boggle tournaments that be on TV. Like, I just be surprised. I'm surprised and don't be at the same time. So after he came out, Liv came out. Then I was like, one, she showed Corey how to do the dance. It was terrible. I was cracking up. This night Trick did dance. He brought out Lash. Lash was doing a dance with him, dancing with him. So Roman's coming out. Then like everybody's saying Roman. And he's basically saying that he got to give Punk his respect because they beat the hell out of each other and he's a good wrestler. And he's like, even if I won, he's like, it's still going to be some people that chant CM Punk, which they were. Then they randomly started chanting Oba. And he was like, and I was like, I was confused too. And then he was like, people's like, Oba's going to kill you. And I was like, who is drunk in the audience watching the after show that started that? So off the rip, Roman did a promo and was like, he got to come through me. He's like, I'm won the title. I'm going to be here for the whole summer. So I said, oh, Lord, he going to be here every Monday. He's like, I ain't going to be part-time no more. He was like, he'll see me doing summer, basically the summer or SummerSlam. And I said, ooh. I said, I don't know if Oba cut the first promo first or if this is Roman sending the message first. I said, but the fans done set up a match. They don't even know that they set up. Okay. So this year's WrestleMania. Oh, before that. So before that match, it was Danhausen came out. So John Cena did the thing. So and Roman had the gold thing and stuff like that. So John Cena does it. Miz comes out and goes, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't have WrestleMania without the Miz. I said, that's true. Said it's not a SummerSlam or WrestleMania if Miz is there. So Miz comes out. Kid Wilson comes out because you know they're doing like a tag team type situation. I don't know if Elton Prince is not coming back or if he's just like really severely injured. And then Danhausen comes back with little Danhausens. So he comes down with all the little people and stuff like that. And Cole said midgets. And he was like, well, Dan told me to call them midgets or something like that. So don't come for me. And Miz was like, what the hell's going on? Basically, he was like, if I wanted to see Wizard of Oz, I'd have went up the street. I was in there cracking up. So then something happened and he was like, you are. And then kid was like, toxic. And he pushed the man. I said, not you pushing the little people. So then they all ganged up on him, which had me crying the way some of them was jumping. And then they hit him in the nuts or whatever. And then he came up to John Cena and Cena was like, he said, I'm such a fan of housing. And Cena was like, okay, like, phew. And Miz like, no, 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 like we not having this. So they did whatever they did to Miz, I forgot, and then all of them walked and carried him off. And before John had announced all the total of people, he was still cracking up. And I was like, that is hilarious. And I said, that is why some wrestling stuff like Danhausen is for the kids. Because I was like, that was funny. I was like, I needed a good laugh. That cracked me up. So just like last year's WrestleMania, we had Joe Henry was for the kids. I was like, and if we didn't have Danhausen, it would have been like the Usos. But that was funny. Okay. It was cute. But outside of throwing these stories together, I would give WrestleMania this year a solid like 8.5 out of 10. Because last year at most I would have gave it a 6. At most. Okay. Yeah. So let me put my glasses back on because I cannot see all the way. I'm blind as hell. But I hope you guys have a great night. Say your prayers. If not, if you're blessed to wake up tomorrow, it's not too late. It's still not too late to turn your day around. What time is it? It's 11:07. You got 53 minutes before the day ends and it starts a new day. And if you're like me, sometimes you don't count it a new day until you go to bed and wake up. Then something happened. Something positive can happen between now and then. So, make sure you stay positive. Anything can happen. Even if you didn't feel like getting out of bed today and you were able to get out of bed, that is still something positive. Okay? Love you all. Bye.